Hello, welcome back to the Placeholder NPCs podcast, where we are continuing on our Scum and Villainy campaign of Dark Cosmos. My name is Xeno, and I'm taking on the role of Game Master for this campaign, and it's about time we had the solo episode that I think a lot of people have been waiting for. It's definitely well overdue. Please welcome my placeholder NPC for this episode, Xeno. Hello, my name's Xeno, and for this session, I'll be playing Mav Burung, call sign Talon, running the Speaker playbook. Now, Mav has a bit of a rough past. She has grown up in a military family, overshadowed by the other members of her family. So she's had to overcome and step up to try and prove herself to get to where she is today. And she's got some very high ambitions to reach that #1 spot. She's aiming for the big seat in the family. Excellent. And I'm ready and pumped to see where this goes. We left Mav in a pretty hairy predicament the last time we saw her. Yeah, definitely. I don't think she's happy about it either. No, and why would she? In fact, I think we'll cut the banter short and I think get straight into it. I don't want to beat around the bush too much and keep everyone waiting. So with that, let's dive into this episode of Dark Cosmos. We're going to pick up right where Mav left off, here on the CCF Osprey, the giant frigate-sized concordant ship. You were standing at one of the escape pod doors, looking through the little window. You've just taken time to pull out 2 fellow soldiers who have been hotboxing it inside in your attempt to flee a vessel that is currently in the act of exploding. And in that time, you were trying to flee with none other than your cousin Voel, who is currently in your custody for crimes that he has been committed as a rebel. You're looking through the porthole into the escape pod, and he is looking directly back at you. He was just yelling out, "Mav, Mav," and as you turn to see, he looks you dead in the eye and pulls the lever to trigger the sequence of ejecting the pod from the vessel. You've run over and you're pounding on the window. Oh yeah, and I am pissed. This was my one chance. I was going to capture him and get him back to, face trial. And just like every other time, he finds a way to pull one up on me. Man, I'm not just standing there. I'm like yelling through this window. And if anyone's like passing by, they just hear all these expletives coming out of Mav's mouth. In that moment, Voel shifts his weight back into the seat. He doesn't seem to care about you being on the other side. And you see the windows separate a bit more. A little bit of that like steam comes up of the deep compression between the two as his pod jettisons, heading off into the deep dark crevices of space. What's Mav going to do now? Okay, looking over, though, the 2 soldiers that I pulled out of the escape pod, are they in any state to take orders or help? You can definitely try. They seem very high off their face. I'm gonna have to make it a dice roll if you're going to try and give them any orders or commands. Yeah, I think Mav's going to go up to one of them and like pull them up from the scruff of their shirts and maybe slap them a bit to try and get their attention and be like, hey, pull your shit together. We need to get escape pods and get off this vessel now. Okay, So this sounds like, I'm guessing, a command sort of role? Yeah, I think it would be command. I'm stepping in as an authoritative figure here, so yeah, it will definitely be command. Cool, cool. How many dice do you have in command? I have a impressive total of 1. 1 whole dice. Okay, well in that case, I think this is going to be a risky standard. Let's start it off nice and basic as you're trying to jolt these guys awake and start to flee from this ship and wreckage. Are you going to try and add anything to this roll? Could try and push myself. Question for you. Do I have any gambits to spend? That's a very good question. Let's say yes. I'm going to give you 2 gambits. But also, if we're going to do this, I think let's treat this like a job. On this frigate, what kind of loadout do you think Mav has? Well, I think she's here on a job. I'm going to say like maybe a normal loadout. She's on duty, and it's a known space, and it's definitely a military ship. I don't think she'd have a heavy loadout, like I think that's overboard, but I think just a standard normal loadout would probably make sense while she's on duty. All good. So keep that in mind when you're picking your items and load. And with that, so you've got 2 gambits to spend. Did you want to spend one on this roll? I think I will. I think Mav doesn't want to see these people left behind. So I will spend one of those gambits. So I'll have 2 dice to roll. Alright, let's see how you go. Give me your dice roll. Okay, that's a 5 and a 3. So 5 is the highest. Okay, 5 is the highest. Alright, I'm going to say, in all the chaos of everything that's going around, you're shaking, slapping these guys about, getting their attention. They are slowly coming through, but then in a brief moment, the entire frigate shudders to one side, and you all slide to the opposite side of the corridor, crashing into the wall. And I'm going to give you a level 1 harm. Let's say a pulled shoulder muscle. Okay, level 1 pulled shoulder muscle. Done. These soldiers come to. They're still a bit hazy, but they seem awake enough to take instructions. I'm going to shove them off of me and be like, get your shit together. I want you two going down that way, and I'm going to point down the corridor that we were originally heading down, and like, you need to find us a way off this vessel. I will go back towards the hangar and see if I can find anything. They give you a half-assed salute, scurry to their feet, and then make their way down the corridor. I think I take a moment just to make sure they are heading that direction before I decide what to do next. Okay, they have scurried off, and what are you deciding to do next? I believe you said last time that I was having trouble finding escape pods here, correct? There seem to be a limited amount of escape pods left. Now, mind you, like, people are fleeing, so it is chaos. There is klaxons going everywhere. And you think this area was maybe one of the first areas to be abandoned. Okay, do I know... I mean, I would know where all the other escape pods are. It would be in my training, right? Yeah, you tell me. If you think it's part of your training and that would make sense, then yeah, we can roll with that. If you wanted to, we can make a flashback to do that training. Okay, let's do a flashback. It's like orientation day here, my first day on the ship. Okay, for first day on the ship, let's see, you've been recently assigned, you're meeting with the captain. They've sent you through into a little, a small windowless room. They show you like a bunch of slides. There's a bit of a HR, sexual harassment training as well. And part of it is emergency procedures in there. It's like one of those like really long, boring days. And yeah, there's like a heap of these pods scattered throughout the frigate. They're designed to be in a convenient spot for the event that something like this does happen. Mav's like rubbing her temples, trying to do her best to remember this information, and I think she's like, okay, there has to be more on the other side that we're just coming from. The other side of the hangars, there was definitely some more. If I can make it over there, then I think I have a good chance that there might be a few left over. So you're heading out of this corridor back towards the hangars that you came from? Yes. Yep. you make your way to the hangar, and as this goes on, I'm going to start a clock here. It's going to have 4 segments to it, and I'm just going to call it Big Explosion. Okay, so if this clock fills in, let's just say kablooey, and if you're not out of that in this time, then we're going to have some serious consequences to take care of. I'm hoping I will get out in time. So you make it out of this hallway into the big open space of the hangar, and it is chaos there. There are ships that have left very, very quickly. There are crates strewn around the place that have broken over, splintered wood everywhere. And you see a hallway on the other side that you are wanting to try and get to, where the other escape pods are. Yep, that's the goal. I want to run as fast as I can to try and get to that space. Let's see how well you go doing that. Let's get a dice roll to see how well you can, like, yeet yourself over boxes and around obstacles to get across the hangar. Okay, so you wanting me to, I guess that's a scramble roll? Yeah, if you want to do a scramble roll, we can definitely do that. Makes sense. It's like very physical, running, jumping. So let me paint the picture. This is like a big open hangar. Like one side is the offices, then the entryways going into the frigate, and the other side are these big open spaces that have these force fields that are up that's holding back the vast vacuum of space. And this massive area in front of you is just chaos. So let's make this a risky standard. I think that's pretty sufficient for this one. Do you want to add anything to this roll? Actually, how many dice do you have to begin with? So scramble, I've only got the 1. So 1 dice. Okay, 1 dice. I've got a devil's bargain for you. I'm listening. In all the commotion, the explosions that are going off, I think maybe the power is starting to falter, and those force field shields are not going to hold for much longer. If they go, everything gets blown out of this place into space. I think they are going to falter in this roll, just to make it super exciting. You know what, I do like to live on the edge. I know Mav might be conservative in how she approaches things, but I think narratively, yeah, this makes sense. I think it's just her luck that these force fields go down as she's trying to get across a big open space. So add yourself another die. Do you want to add your gambit to this as well? No, I think I'll hold on to that one just now, but can I... Oh no, I can't push myself and take Devil's Bargain, can I? No, unfortunately it's one or the other. Ooh, that reminds me also. You have a level 1 harm, so the roll is going to be risky standard, but because you're injured, that's going to become risky limited, as your shoulder injury kind of plays up and stops you from running and scrambling at your best. In that case, okay, cool. I'll just take the 2. That's fine. I mean, you could get 6s and everything is perfectly fine. Let's see how we go. Take your 2 dice and give me a roll, please. This definitely runs in the family, doesn't it? What did you get, buddy? I got a 2 and a 1. Ooh, that's rough. Okay. As you're scrambling and running, I think you kind of trip over your own feet, and you trip up and barrel over right as the frigate itself shifts again, and this area kind of dislodges from the main craft, and everything starts to slide towards those massive open spaces. I'm a benevolent GM. I will let you get a bit of an extra chance here. You see those force fields are faltering. They are going to go down in the next action or 2 you take. What are you going to do to get through this? Okay, can I resist that roll a bit and say that she doesn't trip over, but maybe just has some obstacles in the way? Yeah, I'll definitely allow that if you want to risk taking on the stress points. So you were using Scramble here. How many dice do you have in Prowess? Mav has 2. So, a resist roll here is you roll your 2 dice, tell me the highest, we'll subtract that from 6, and that will be how many points of stress you take. The one roll that I needed, and I roll a double frickin' 6. Critical. Okay, cool. So, with that, you have a 6, which means you take no stress at all, you don't trip over, or maybe you tumble a bit, do a bit of a barrel roll, and leap to your feet. See, I don't know what the other guys see in you. You're a wonderful GM. And how are you looking to continue? So, with those fields faltering, it's risky. Can I look around and see what other options I might have here? Like, what else do I see? So there's like this is a hangar. Are there any ships here that might be left behind? Is there people still leaving? No, I think you look out the hangar doors and I think you can see the last of the ships have now left. You can also see all the escape pods jettisoning out into space. If you want to take a moment to check your surroundings, you certainly can. Would have to be a study roll though, just to, run through your mind what your best option is. I'm actually quite good at study. I will check that. So I've got 2 dice in study. So that's 2 dice. Let's see. We're still risky. Actually, no. Let's bump this up to desperate standard roll. You're trying to study and work out what's here that you can use to get you to safety or get you over and across the other side to get to those escape pods. Do you want to add anything to this? Do you want to use your gambit? No, I think I'll hold on to the gambit, but can I push myself to get the extra dice? Certainly can. Mark 2 stress, get yourself an extra dice, and give me your roll, please. I am amazing. That is a 1, a 4, and a 6, baby. Excellent, that's a clean success. Also, because that was a desperate roll, take a point of XP. And, yep, 1 point. You tell me what you want here. Do you want something that's going to get you across the other side into a hallway of escape pods? Or do you want something else in this room that can help you get out? Force field is going down. Is there something in here that I can use to get out? Is there like a small personal craft, small ship, maybe one of the Viper ships are here? Yeah, let's say over in one corner there's like a little mechanic station and one of the Viper craft have been brought in here. It's kind of teetered to one side with everything that's going on, but looking over from this point of view, you think it might be operational. Excellent. I'm going to run for that then, and hopefully I can use that to fly out of here. Now it's towards the back, so you have to deviate from your course a bit more. I'm gonna say, give me another scramble roll. Even though you have a bruise, I'll make this one risky standard. So it would have been risky greater, but because you got the bruise, it comes down to standard. Okay, I've just got the 1 to scramble. And I am rolling hot today. That is a 6, come on. Alrighty, describe for me how Mav scrambles across this space. The force field is faltering and you can start to see air begin to gush out of the hangar into space. Boxes and pylon beams and stuff that's not being tied down is starting to slide out of the hangar. I think, Mav's just going to run and jump. I think one of those like beams goes flying. She does like the big slide underneath it and jumps up, maybe flips over something, and then makes it to this Viper ship. It is textbook training grounds, perfect. Everything Mav's trained for in the military, every day, night of sweat and extra training to prove herself that she is worthy of the position she's in. Leaps and bounds, jumping over tall, those parts where you have to, duck and crawl underneath ropes in mud. Everything is leading up to a time like this where Mav is just hoofing it through debris and chaos and makes it to a Viper ship. Alright, I know you're going to screw me over here, but is the Viper ship working? Is it turned on? Is there keys in the ignition still? No, I wouldn't be that mean. I think you look over into the mechanics area. Maybe there's like a clipboard on a wall that's kind of like now tilted to the side as it's trying to, you know, go towards the vacuum of space, and there's a little jingling of keys there. You're able to grab those and climb yourself into the Viper ship, and you're all starting it up, and it is just chaos everywhere. You can hear explosions coming from behind you now as this ship is literally tearing itself apart. Well, I'm not going to waste any time here. I'm going to get this thing going and get the hell out of here. That to me sounds like you're going to have to give me a helm roll. Let's keep it risky standard as we've been doing. What do you have in helm? I think Mav kind of skipped a few classes in piloting, so unlike her cousin, she's only got 1 dice in helm. But I do have a gambit I'd like to use on this one. Certainly can, so that would bring you up to 2 dice. Yeah, I don't think she's trained in like these ones, but I think she's going to use that gambit to get an extra one. I don't want to mess this up and be stuck here on a ship inside a smaller ship. Okay, cool. So you got 2 dice. Let's see if I've got a devil's bargain for you. I'm going to say the structural integrity of the CCF Osprey, this frigate ship, is now non-existent. The ceiling is now collapsing in on itself, and as you're flying out of here, you're going to have to do some swift maneuvering to get past, like, you know, these giant massive metal beams that have just like fallen out of the ceiling. Again, you know, crates are flying up everywhere, and that will give you an extra dice as well. You know what, I think Mav is ready to prove herself. I will take it. So that's 3 dice. You have 3 dice. Give me a dice roll. Risky standard. Don't fail me now. That is a 1, a 2, and a fucking 3. So, I will say, I'm not that mean. I don't think I'm going to say this is a fail, but I reckon as you're flying through, you do make it out, but your Viper ship takes a significant amount of damage. Let's take out its flight controls. So we're going to get rid of one of those systems on your ship. I'm not going to like be this against you yourself because you're flying a ship at this point. And I think as you're like looping through, a piece of metal, maybe like a blast door, comes flying across, smashes into the side of the Viper ship, and sends you spinning and spiraling out of the hangar into the void of space. Just by luck. Okay, cool. Can I do something to try and reclaim some level of control of this ship? I don't want to just go spinning off and into like nothingness or into another ship, or God forbid I crash into another escape pod. If you want, you can try and maybe rig something together, or it's up to you. You can do some rig, you can do some hack. Maybe you're trying to override the programming inside the cockpit here. I don't know, maybe you pull apart parts of the ship from inside and try and gain control that way. Well, it might surprise you to hear that Mav has exactly 0 dice in both of those. So I don't think Mav's that mechanically minded to do anything like rig-wise. I think she might try and just like maybe do some kind of hack to override the computers, just like smashing buttons to see what works to try and like counterbalance the spin. Yeah, I think that would, yeah, I think she'll try a hack. I don't have anything. Okay, fair enough. This would be a desperate standard roll, and let me see if I can add anything to that. You've used up your last gambit. Let's see. I will give you a devil's bargain here again. Maybe you regain some control, but it's not enough, and you are going to crash land on a planet nearby. We have Juniper nearby, the big gas giant, so maybe you don't crash on that planet itself, but maybe one of its 500 moons that are orbiting it. You just get stupid dumb luck, and it's like you're going down on that moon around this planet. Now, devil's bargain, that happens either way, right? So if I fail this and don't gain control, I'm going to crash on a moon either way. That is correct. Either way, you're crashing on a moon. It's going to come down to if you have some level of control over the ship, over this Viper, or if you just go spinning out of control and pray that you survive in one piece somehow. I'm going to take it because I think that's better than rolling no dice. I will take that one. We are going to crash. I think Mav is mentally checking out a bit at this point, or doesn't quite register that it's going to happen, because she's just in the moment smashing buttons, trying to get some semblance of control. Okay, so give me your singular dice roll. This is a 4. You get a 4. I think you're smashing buttons. At one point you hit one button and a torpedo flies off in one direction, and then you realize that you could probably use torpedoes on the other side to maybe counteract the out of controlness. So you smash a few more, torpedoes go flying off in another direction. Don't worry, don't panic. They're not going to hit anything. I think they just fly off into space. That would be a dick move if I made you blow up another escape pod or anything. But you gain control. You're not spinning out of chaos at this point. However, as you gain control, you notice it too late that you are coming up onto one of the privately owned moons that are orbiting Juniper. What is Mav going to do to brace herself for the inevitable? Mav's not a religious person, but if prayer was a thing right now, I think she might be considering it. I'm going to... Can I... And this is going to sound crazy. No, this won't work. I was going to say, can I try and attune? Like, I know attune is usually the way stuff, but can she, like, take a moment in her mind to take a deep breath and try and be one with the ship and, you know, kind of like just time it really, really well to hopefully not die on impact? It's not normally the way we would use attune, but yeah, let's go with that. I think maybe Mav's opening herself up to the mysterious ways of the cosmos. Every time she's done something, she's had to work hard for it. And it feels like every time that happens, she just gets knocked back down again. The cosmic order just doesn't want to see her rise up and attain those goals that she's been dreaming of ever since she was a young Avali, playing on the playgrounds, you know, with Voel, her cousin, back when times were simpler, on your home planet, running in the sun, feeling grass between your talons. And then every time she tries to achieve something higher, it's like the universe doesn't want that. So maybe this time she will just let the universe take control. I'll allow it. I'm going to do something really crazy here. I'm going to give you an assist. So well, you have 1 dice added to this roll, which will give you... How many do you have in attune? I have 0, so this will be 1 dice. Okay. The mystical ways of the universe is going to give you the helping action here. As Mav locks in, this is a desperate roll. Let's go standard effect. Take your mystical universe dice and give me a roll, please. That silence does not sound good. It does not. The universe does not want Mav to excel. I got a 1. That is rough. Okay. Can I try and resist the effects of this? I've got some stress to go. I've got some stress to burn. I will let you resist it. You're going to take, I think, a level 3 harm. You are careening towards a moon surface. The universe has said fuck you, and it's going to head plant you directly down. Your level 3 harm is going to be severe broken bones, internal bleeding, some really bad stuff. Maybe even a broken talon. But if you want to resist that, you certainly can. That was an attune roll. So how many dice do you have in resolve? I've got 2 dice. Okay, roll your 2 dice, and we'll subtract that from 6 to see how much stress you take. That is a 2. Alright, so 6 minus 2, you were taking 4 points of stress. And where does that leave Mav on her stressor meter? Well, unfortunately, I think that's going to, because we started off with some, it's going to push her over. We are maxing out on stress. Okay. Mav, maybe this universe, this life, is not for you. You lean in to acceptance as the surface of this moon gets closer and closer. Maybe you're at a point where you just need to stop fighting, stop struggling against what the universe wants. Accept that maybe you're not destined to be that great leader that you want to be. That leader that ushers in a change for humanity, that does good in the world. But maybe this is a world that doesn't quite want you in it. There is a large explosion as the Viper smears itself across the surface of this moon. You say no. That is not what I have been fighting for. Every time Mav gets knocked down, she gets back up again. And something inside her bolsters more to keep going, to become that leader. And after a while, you come to, and you slowly pull your body out of this wreckage. It's strewn everywhere, parts of it on fire, you can hear the crackling. There's a small explosion to one side as the fuel tank ignites. But you're alive. You're battered. You're broken. But you're still fighting. And as you crawl forward, you hear the sound of 2 blaster rifles powering up. And as you look up, you look directly into the faces of a small troop of private security guards. The emblem of the Quasar Pharmaceuticals on their sides, pointing these rifles directly at you, and they say, "Halt, you are trespassing on private property. You will submit to us." Well, fuck. Thank you for listening to Dark Cosmos. If you enjoyed our little April Fool's episode, then make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button, as you may enjoy an actual episode when there's real people playing real characters. Music of the opening credits was from Veslian Studios. Background music for this episode was from Sasha End. Sound effects from zapsplat.com. and character art by Handog. All the links are in the episode description.